Hi guys, it's April and today I'm going to be focusing on the moon part of this piece. I have the colors kind of chosen right now. This is very much subject to change, but I thought I would, hold on. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I thought I'd start out with at least the 535 and the 525 because I used both of these already in the piece. And I've also used the Polychromos 103 as well. So there's some consistency in color that I'm bringing into the moon as I color it. But I did bring in the 271, which I believe is just a warm gray. If I remember right. Yeah, it's warm gray 2. So I have cool gray 5 in the Holbein, warm gray 5 in the Holbein, the warm gray 2 in the Polychromos, and then the ivory in the 103. And so the two Holbeins I used in the clouds, and the ivory I've used for her skin tones. Of course, as soon as I hit start, my nose wants to run. Give me a quick second. Okay. Allergy season and it's hit me. I'm gonna start by. Hi, welcome. Hold on, dog. If you don't want me to sit on you, you gotta give me space. The dog is currently sitting behind me on the chair, so we are sharing space right now. What was I doing? Oh, I was gonna zoom in. Zoom in. Give me a little extra space. There we go. I almost lost my voice this morning because of allergies. It's just all in my upper head this morning. Okay, I'm going to start with the darkest colors here. And honestly, I'm not going to hit too many spots with it. At least not right away. I'm going to mostly just follow what Kerby has drawn in here. And as always, this is just going to be my first pass. So if I don't get it perfect, I'm just going to keep layering. I did at one point think about possibly getting a little artistic with it and bringing in some random colors, but I think for now, especially since I've gone pretty traditional with the rest of the piece, that'll do the same here. I like to traditionally, excuse me, I like doing dark to light, because then it means I can get some of the dark down lightly and I can kind of get a feel for where I want to do the shading. And then I can build it out from there. Especially since I like to take the lighter color and I like to use that as my, at least for the colored pencils, I like to use it for like burnishing everything in. But it also depends on what I'm doing. If I want something to have like a color underlayer, sometimes I'll do the whole spot with that lighter color so that everything kind of has that hue even when you start layering it. But it's kind of, in my brain, a lot easier to go in with the dark color starting light and then building it up, because it's easy to add color but it's hard to subtract. And so the dark tones are always ones that I'm trying to be super careful with because I don't want it to overwhelm the piece. There are times where I have so many stinking layers. Some of the I'm switching over to the 525. Some of the Disney coloring pages that I've done in the past, I always go very light-handed on those. And so yeah, I've got so many layers. And that's actually a very good way to do it. And I think one of the more traditional ways to do it. Is just, I think part of the reason I go dark to light is because I started in the marker world. That's where I existed coloring wise for a good long time. It wasn't until, oh, maybe 5 years ago that I truly started trying to do colored pencils and trying to do colored pencils well. And so a lot of those like ways I think of color is because of how I use markers. So when I'm blending with alcohol markers, it is so much easier to get a nice blend when you use the lighter color to go over a good chunk of this area. And so that kind of just always stuck with how I do things. I'm also not being precise right now. I'm keeping it loose. It's kind of what I did with the marker layer of this one. I like Kincaid simply because it makes me think about how colors are achieved and what colors you need to really blend together to get a certain effect. So I don't do him often, but it is a beast when I do them. It usually takes you about 3 times as long as you think it's going to take you. Okay, here's where I'm probably going to break with traditional a little bit. I'm going to go straight to the 103 before I go in with the 271. And here I'm just going to use this along the rim. Because I want to make sure that we keep the lightness around the edge. Because I'm going to go over everything with the 271. Kind of considering that like my base layer. Oh, nice. So you did the gray smoke area. Love that. So this is the 271. And like I said, I'm going to hit absolutely everything with this one. It's that warm gray that I really want to make sure that we keep the color of. It's got a touch of that yellow in it. I'm still keeping it relatively light. Probably going to go a little more heavy-handed in a couple of layers, but not quite yet. And as soon as I get it to a place that I'm happy with, we'll bring out the Gansai Tambi and maybe add that nice opal layer. You can start to see those colors come together. Okay, so there's some kids outside, and you know, in Frozen 2, where she starts to do like that, the call or whatever it's called. They're doing that outside right now. And so I'm like, what the heck is that sound? That's all I can hear. Oh, free entertainment. Sorry, I was a little distracted there. So at least now we've gotten rid of a lot of the white spaces. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of what the title of the song was. Into the Unknown. Yes, the siren call. Yeah, it's part of the Frozen 2 movie. Yeah, she's just out there, just on repeat. Okay, going back with the 535, which is my darkest. I'm gonna really hit some areas, and I'm gonna go a little heavy-handed. No, that's not the way I want to phrase that. I'm gonna go a little more pressure, not completely heavy-handed, but a little more pressure, so that you really start to get those dips and those valleys that are the different shades of the moon. So that you have that texture. I'm sorry, I know you can't pick it up on the microphone. Oh, but she's just going really wild with it. So I do know that a lot of, sorry, my brain is going like 17 different places at once today. I do know a lot of the coloring creatives this last week or so have gone, I can't remember what conference it was, where they were seeing some of the new products and whatnot. I will admit that some of the stuff they've been posting about may have made it onto my, I should probably check these out, and possibly end up with more coloring supplies that I may or may not actually need. It's always dangerous when they come out with the either additional colors or a new product line. I do know that the Gambi Tansy, Tambi, I'm gonna say that right one time. Um, the Gansai Tambi, they have a new granulating set that's coming out. So they have Granulating Colors 2 that's going to come out sometime this year. That if these work the way I'm hoping they will for backgrounds, I might have to get those additional 5 colors. Sure, I get in between those hair strands. I don't want to completely mellow out the details. After the while, if I get too aggressive with the lighter colors, you start to lose some of those fine lines. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with 525. Oh, so you have the, like, is that the full set? I mean, right now, the 42. Or is it the 42 is the base set, and then you've got these additional, like, granulating colors and the opalescence and the gems, and because I do know they sell them in different sets. And I figured I'd try with some of the smaller sets before I completely went all in and got maybe the full range. So it's one of those things that I've just started to learn about, and so I don't know a lot about yet. Okay. Well, I absolutely love that for you. And I think probably once I start to master watercolors a little bit more, I think a full set is in my future. Watercolor is one of those things that I've wanted to not necessarily master, but at least become proficient in for such a long time. I'm just me and paints. And it seems kind of silly because paints kind of work very similar to alcohol based markers when it comes to like using and blending and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's just, I don't know, something about using a brush that I have to like dip into a medium and everything else, it just, my brain starts to spaz. I've been starting to follow a lot of YouTubers that deal with watercolors and gouaches, trying to pick up some skills. But I'm always a little hesitant to actually start and try. A 100 colors. Okay, so I have a long way to go with, currently I have what? 11? And I've got 6 more on the way. I did, I probably mentioned this last time, but I did start with the sets that I thought would supplement my coloring first, because I'm not 100% sure I want to go like deep into watercolor, but I know using some of the, that was supposed to be a petal. Oops. Um, Something that I can use to add pops of things or as backgrounds, I think, is where I was originally starting to think about watercolor. And then kind of expanding out from there. How am I feeling about that? I'm going to erase that real quick. See if I can get A little bit of pink in there. I'm not going to pull out the color cards for this. Since the area is so small. There we go. I don't know if you can kind of see the difference on your end. Like I said, it's so small, it probably wouldn't have like totally hurt the piece, but okay, I think I was on the warm gray. Don't think I'm going to bring the ivory back in. I think I've used that one as much as I want to. So I'm mainly using the 271 right now to blend in areas together that still seem to be a little open. This is 535. Oh, I love that coloring view. And I'm glad it helped kind of push you into doing this page. I will admit, this is one of those pages I really wanted to do because I really love the mythology behind it. Plus, at the beginning, I was going to try for more of that old weird world color palette that you would find on some of the older scrolls and things. But it kind of took on a life of its own. It started there. How do I feel about that? I'm going to zoom out a bit so that you guys can get a feel for where this is sitting now. So it's become a little bit more muted, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with this, because like I said, I'm playing with some of like those older color palettes. It's a little more muddied than I think I was originally thinking. And what we could do is I could get a yellow, maybe bring in a little bit of yellow. But overall, I do like where this is sitting. Let's turn that off real quick. Bring out my color chart. I don't want to be like super aggressive, but I could probably bring in 102 of the Polychromos. Yeah, that's the cream. And it's just going to roll down the table. Like I said, I don't want to go full on vibrant yellow because I don't think that would fit with this piece. But at least around the rim, we can boost up some of that yellow and kind of blend it into the center. Yeah, okay. It's starting to round out a little better. I'm going to grab the Holbein 127 real quick. And do the very edges with that one. It's also called cream. I'm going to switch back to the Polychromos cream real quick. Okay. Now the question is, will I get the opalescence that I'm looking for? If I start experimenting. I'm thinking of bringing in the gold. Just gonna get it all wet. Should have got my spray bottle out, but I did not. Okay. Now I'm just gonna be brave, and I'm not gonna do a test. I'm just gonna go in, and I might regret this. Granted, from the angle I'm at, all I'm seeing is gold. From the angle you're at, you're probably not even seeing anything. Once I get this layer down, I'll kind of try and see if I can get this to catch the light. More water. Oops. Got some in her hair. That's not what I was aiming for. Don't quite realize how many minute details there are until you have to try and color around them. Yeah, I think you're picking up absolutely nothing on camera. Gonna have to move that. Okay, so I wasn't as precise as I think in my brain I was hoping to be. Not that you can be with watercolors, but there's just so many little tiny pieces that I need to try and get around. Okay, so I know what you're saying, but give me a quick second and I'll unclip this and I'll try and show you what I'm seeing. Okay. There. You see that? That's what I'm getting from my angle. So straight on, you've kind of got that, the moon as it would appear when, you've kind of got it reflecting a little bit of the sunlight. There. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's fun. Looks like I missed a little bit of the edge right up there. So it's like subtle, but then like, boom. Subtlety, who is she? She is not here. And I think that layer of colored pencil created a barrier over top the marker, which is kind of what I was hoping for. Because I was afraid I was going to start moving around the watercolor and I did not want to do that. Okay. Just building up some of the spots where the opalescence was a little thinner. Because I was just starting to figure out how to layer this in. So I found with the opalescence, at least this set, if you want to get a good decent layer of like that pearlescence on there, you've got to like get water on it and wet it down and then dry off your brush and then go in with a dry brush into the paint. Because then it will pick up less water and more of that pearliness that you really want to transfer. So that's my little tip, even though this is my first official application. But I was kind of watching a couple other people use it in some of their tutorials, and that's kind of the little tip that I learned. Yeah. So it's the Opal Gold. I do have the Starry set coming that does have like the gold in it that I want to try at some point. It's not going to be here for a bit. But that's okay. I think, okay. What do I want to do? I had an idea. Kiritaki brand. I have this ZIG metallic. But I want to add a few gold pieces in it, since that's kind of what we did with the moon. So, like I said, I've got this, I'm not going to say that name correctly, but it's a ZIG metallic from Kiritaki. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some gold spots on to pull in kind of the moon colors. Usually I'd probably, oh, didn't mean to whistle. Usually I add some of this last, but because it's like fresh in my mind right now, I'm gonna add it now. I did look at the Graftini. I'm not gonna say that right. I mean, it's got like those graphite colors, and it kind of does a little bit of that granulation that the granulation set does. I did honestly think about it, but I wanted to play with these first to see if I like them, and then kind of pull it in from there. And I think as of right now, that's kind of what I'm thinking, that I'm gonna say yes to them, because really like how that is going. Okay. I'm gonna keep this out. I think those are just the few places I wanted to hit right away with the gold. But I kind of need to figure out where the rest of this is gonna end up going. And I don't just want to start throwing gold everywhere just to throw gold everywhere. I want to be intentional about it. Little moon on the bottle. There we go. Okay. See if we can throw the watercolor set in there too. I think I'm going to end it here from now. I'm wondering, because this is, oh, sorry, this is looking a little washed out. Compared to what I'm seeing. It's a little better. Yeah, so I might have to pull in that set in next. Like I said, I'm kind of really having fun with some of these right now. Okay. So this is where I'm gonna end it for today. I need to figure out what I am doing with the rest of her outfit. I'm kind of leaning towards making all of these like strings and things red. And maybe leaning a little more white on the outfit, but adding in tones of gray to add shading. But I haven't 100% decided yet. So if you have any suggestions, especially throughout this next week, just leave me suggestions. I'm open to where this piece can go next. I'm not 100%. Hold on. Sorry. Sure, okay. Starting sentence over because I got distracted. I'm not exactly sure when next week or next weekend I will be streaming since we are hitting a holiday weekend. I don't know yet, or if I'm even gonna get a chance to stream next weekend. I'm hoping to, but I will for sure let you guys know if I can manage to fit you guys in because this piece is very close to done. I just I have to figure out if I'm gonna do the background or not. If I'm gonna leave it open. So we'll play around with that. Like I said, I'm open to suggestions. Feel free to leave them down below or on any of my posts or on any of my socials. I would love to hear from you guys. But I'm going to end it here for today. I want to thank all of you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I love that you are here and that you guys are willing to have a back and forth with me. Otherwise, I just hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of your week. And I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.